You might play 2 mana removal spells. You might play Dismembers. You know, you might play different cards.
This love for a chalice. I mean, the chalice is a card that is already being there.
Yeah, but no deck has ever been able to play Chalice of the Void and massive creatures that do something like Faulkner Seer. That's the thing. I mean, playing Chalice of the Void on turn 1 and a 4/4 that Fault seizes you on turn 2. I mean, it's a play that has never been seen before. And the fact that there's like 2 more lands. I mean, before you could only play like City of Traitors and Ancient Tombs. Now you have Eldrazi Temples, you have Eye of Ugin, and also you have Cavern of Souls, which is great. I mean, consider against cards like Counterbalance, against cards like Force of Wheels or Counter Spells or whatever, you have Cavern of Souls, which makes a huge difference. I mean, Cavern of Souls is a big card,
Cavern of Souls,
especially in a format like kind of dominated by Force of Will.
Yeah, it's a very consistent list in which you have the big part played by, I think, Reality Smasher is a very good card. Tough Knot Seer is very strong. I don't know.
There are a bunch of bad cards. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Matter Reshaper, Eldrazi Mimic, yeah, they fit there. They're the basic of the deck in a way, because you can always open Eldrazi Mimic on turn 1 and smash for 4 on turn 2. But I mean, that's not a strong legacy play. I mean, a strong legacy play would be Chalice of the Void or a Thorn of Amethyst on turn 1, followed by Faulkner Seer on turn 2. But this deck is also able to like raise, creature decks by playing a Mimic on turn 1 and then dropping a bunch of 4/4s and 5/5s and. I mean, you can drop a couple of Mimics on turn 1 with Eye of Ugin. You can go Eye of Ugin, triple Mimic if you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, and then just a 4/4 on turn 2. And obviously, that's a really powerful
side. I think the difference between the Mud deck, the previous Mud deck we're using the Chalice and the Spheres, is that the Mud deck with a Mox Diamond, they tend to put their hand in play in turn 2. And if you don't have a Force Will, you probably got a Training Sphere, got a Chalice and so on, but then they are top deck. This deck is consistent also quite in the, I think it's in a mid game, it can be consistent.
It does have a mid game. I mean, when you draw an endless one, you can make a huge endless one. Even in in a mid game scenario, it's just an XX. Or so also, all your creatures are much more impactful than the previous creatures at the prison style decks. I mean, this is not prison style. This is like a Stompy kind of deck, which also has a few cards that interact really well with your opponent.
I think in effect that Eldrazi Temple is quite a boost, because before City of Traitors is not a
it's not the best land. Not the best land drop on turn 1.
Yeah, but now with Eldrazi Temple, we'll see. I'm quite interested by this deck, even if I think that Blood Moon is still the strongest card in this format.
What decks play Blood Moon in Legacy? I mean, there's a Dragon Stompy kind of deck that can play Blood Moon.
Kind of deck.
Painter Servant can play. Oh, actually, this deck probably has a really bad matchup.
Painter made a top 8 last week in the...
Painter could be a good choice, because obviously Painter Servant affects the Eldrazi pretty bad. I mean, if you play the Painter Servant and name a color, obviously all the Eldrazi are colorless, they're gonna become a color, and then Eldrazi Temple and Eye of Ugin, they're not gonna work anymore, because they say you can use 2 manas, for colorless Eldrazi, while these Eldrazi are not colorless.
I mean, you can put, you can have a Blood Moon for turn. Putting a Blood Moon in play in turn 1, I mean, it eases you against every matchup, basically. You don't fetch, you don't have the access to the extra colors you have, and also Miracle, you have basic lands, but I mean, you get to fetch them. And And if you put a blood and it's not the deck with Blood Moon and then sneak attack, I hope to see the creature. It's a deck that with Imperial Recruiter and Painter can easily get rid of you in the future. So I think it's a very
Painter is real, especially because the Red Elemental Blast. I mean, you can still play those Red Elemental Blast. I mean, it's always a decent card, regardless of the Painter side of it. Also,
it's a blue-based deck.
Every mana-based in Legacy is really greedy. I mean, even the aggressive decks, even the control decks, every single deck has a really greedy mana base. I mean, with the fetch lands and the duels, everyone plays sort of okay, I'll play a bunch of fetch lands, a bunch of dual lands, maybe wastelands as well. You can always see like a 3-color aggro control deck playing wastelands, which is, you know, your mana base is going to be really shaky. The only you know,
seen also before elves. Now he plays 4 cradles. He plays the canopy.
Bayous and,
he plays with bayous.
yeah.
He plays with canopies. He plays with a lot of fetchlands to screen on the deck. He plays sometimes he plays the arbor. I mean,
what removal spells is the Painter deck normally playing? I mean, if they go land Deathray Shaman, how do you kill the Deathray Shaman? I mean, what kind of removal spells do they have for Deathray Shaman? Do they have some lightning bolts? Do they have some dismembers?
Yeah, it depends on the list you're playing, because you can. I mean, you can also get rid of everything with a Red Elemental Blast.
Yeah.
With a Painter.
Well, I mean, on turn 1, do they have a 1 mana removal spell?
I think so. I didn't see the last. I think I didn't see. I've seen the list of the guy that made top 8 last week with Painter, and it was a good league. I don't know if he ran lightning bolts. I think I would run them.
Yeah, I would. I mean, there's plenty of like Deathray Shamans in the format. You might run lightning bolts, or maybe you want to run the dismembers or something.
Yeah, also.
You know, it depends where you're trying to fit, what kind of
plenty of choice,
creatures you want to kill.
Point is that I think that now for the situation of the Legacy now, I mean, you can play around the Calice in some way. I mean, not so much if you're a Storm deck or a Miracle deck, because you got your plan of manipulating quite very, very complicated. But I think the Legacy has always been a format in 1 card for 1 card from the beginning. You remember when the Legacy started, and it was against the Vintage, and the Vintage had the Agmod's Will, the Necropotence, the silver bullets, no?
Yeah.
Instead, Legacy's never.
It's always been attrition. Like you're trading 1 card for 1 card, and even Force of Will. Even Force of Will was slightly worse, because obviously you know, especially in like aggro control matchups, there's no big spell that you need to counter or big spell that you need to protect.
That's the way when I played Legacy for many years. When I play against a control deck with a control deck, I always board out Force Wills, because there's no spell or a crucial spell, or you have to count. I mean, every spell.
Especially because you have this choice of playing like Red Elemental Blast, Pyroblast, Flusterstorm,
Yeah.
all this kind of like
Spell Pierce.
Spell Pierce are much better counter than Force of Will.
More efficient.
But now I've seen yesterday in Vintage resurgence of cards like Sword to Plowshares. I mean, it's never been played in Vintage. No one ever played Sword to Plowshare in Vintage since Keeper, like
man, to complete
15 years ago.
To complete my speech, in fact, Snapcaster Mage was huge in Legacy, because it's like him to Turach. It's like a 2 cards for 1. This way that Snapcaster Mage was so played, but now you must consider that Calice and Blood Moon are cards 1 for 5, for 6, for 7, for 10, for every deck, for the whole deck. So I think if I will play Legacy now, I will surely play one or the other or both, because you probably with a single card,
chances are your opponent has a couple of 1-drops in their hand, like you know, most of the time.
2 drops.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, you never see like a Legacy deck going land go with no play on turn 1. They always do something. they always do something on turn 1.
You
They
got a
always have,
ponder, you got
a ponder or a
brainstorm,
brainstorm,
you
or
got
sword
the
plowshares,
you
or
got the sensei
Death Ray
top.
Shaman, or
Yeah.
Sensei Top, or any kind of 1-drop. They always tend to do something on turn 1.
So I think that I mean, people tend to think that playing hate decks is gonna say I'm not so good. I'm not so good in playing, and I play an 8 deck. But instead, it's not an. I mean, it's not an 8 deck really. You're gonna play the strongest card in the format. For me, in this moment, yeah, Chalice of the Void and Blood. Around this card, you can build whatever you want. I mean,
the only difference is you can always play Chalice on turn 1,
Yeah.
while playing Blood Moon on turn 1 is much more complicated. You can always only do that with like
It's not so complicated.
the monkey, Spirit Guide, and
you got Mox
Diamond.
You
Yeah,
got the Chrome Mox if you want.
that's why Painter is such a good deck.
And you consistently play. If you want to play, and you don't have a free mana first turn, and second turn you surely have. So the opponent has got only the opportunity to get one turn before,
one basic
before facing a Blood Moon. So I think it's the thing is what you build around this. I mean, in Eldrazi is that he's got a consistent deck around the Chalice. I don't know if Painter or Stompy are consistent around the Blood. This is the question, but I think now these decks are, I mean, Tier 1 with Storm and Miracle for the format. So we'll see, but this is my opinion now. And so we are finally here with the third turn of the Legacy Tournament. The two players are now sitting down. The players are Angelo Cadei, the famous Angelo Cadei, with his pet deck. I think you're happy to see him playing. I'm happy to see him playing because he's very, you know him, and he's very. He's got many results in Legacy with Miracle deck, and is quite. I think the best, one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's been very consistent with the results lately.
So it's the example.
We've seen him in top 8 yesterday in Vintage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he top 8 in Vintage yesterday.
Yeah. So the usual good God run by Angelo. I think it's the only one that gains in playing Magic. They get money in playing Magic.
Mi spieghi come hai fatto a vincere un giorno un Lakers e un giorno 2 giorni fa?
Ci siamo? Vai.
Ma come è possibile?
So the opponent of Angelo
Sì, sì.
is saying you see the Saint, the Devil Advocate that Angelo has since the beginning, since the
Cazzo come me arriva.
early 2000. The opponent is Marchetti.
Playing Grixis Delver. Grixis Delver is probably the one with Young Pyromancer, Cabal Therapy, Jutaxian Probes.
He's got good interactions.
Yeah, good interactions.
Yeah, he's got Pyromancer, he's got flashbacks, he's got. It's a deck that I really like because
If you wanna, if you have to choose in the matchup, which one do you wanna be? Do you wanna be the one playing Miracle? Do you wanna play the one playing Grixis Delver?
I wanna be Angelo. Not for the deck, for him.
Oh, besides the player, leave alone the player. Just as a as a deck choice.
I think Miracle is stronger as a deck, but I would like very much to play that deck. This is the opportunity to play it. So we have now standings after 3 turns.
Are they all sitting on 3 and
When we have 9 points, the 2 Italian champions of the
World
World
Magic Cup,
champions.
World Magic Cup.
Andrea Mengucci and Marco Camilluzzi, so two
They're all
VIP.
3-0.
Friano, Angelo is Friano, Davide Calvaruso Friano, Filippo Saino, Stefano Lombardi, Enrico Selis, Alberto Laurenzi, Patrick Chen, Enrico Vair, and Marchetti Roberto, we don't see him playing here. 7 points for two win and 1 draw. Ludovico Pagliughi, Francesco Pazzi, Andrea Guasti, and Riccardo Biava, also quite famous player. So famous player.
If I look at the Grixis Delver deck list, is packing 4 Force of Wheels, 4 days, 2 Stiffles, and these are the only interaction that it has. It doesn't have any Cabal Therapy main deck. He only has four Cabal Therapy in the sideboard. So the only kind of interaction that it has in main deck is 4 Force of Wheels, 4 Daisies, and 2 Stiffles. Everything else is literally weaker cards against Miracle in the form of like Fork Bolt, Lightning Bolt, and a few other creatures.
This is a particular choice.
It's a very strange choice. I mean, playing cards like Fork Bolt main deck over Cabal Therapies. But you know, looking at the deck list, I think I'll take the Miracle side because there's so many dead cards.
The Angelo deck list, the Miracle is quite classical with the 3 colors, blue, white, red, 3 Terminus, 1 Entreat, 1 Council Judge, 2 Mentors, but the rest is classical, is with 3 Jays and so on. Not so.
I mean, this deck doesn't really seem very resilient to Terminus. I mean, Marchetti's deck list it really suffered Terminus. He only has like 4 Force of Wheels to counter Terminus.
I don't know, this choice of not playing the Cabal Therapy is very strange and very... I don't agree at all. I think it's a real card of the deck.
Yeah.
I mean, you have
the interaction with
interaction.
Yeah, with the Pyromancer, it's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Gitaxian Probs as well.
Yeah,
when you have cards like Pyromancer, Gitaxian Probs, you really want to play Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, Roberto is gonna start with a fetch land. He immediately fetches, probably into a Ditrite Shaman. So,
what's his best turn 1 play? Is it Delver?
Yeah, it's Delver or it's Ditrite Shaman. I think it's Delver in. Yeah, Ditrite Shaman. As we fought. Angelo, you just draw a Sword to Plowshare, and he plays a fetch land. We are quite disappointed about that choice on not playing Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, I am. I really like Cabal Therapy in the front.
Strong.
I mean, what's his best turn to play? I mean, can he go something like the Young Pyromancer and okay, that's
this way.
Okay, this way. Imagine if you had a Cabal Therapy here.
You already probably won.
Also, he's attacking for 1. I mean,
don't agree.
He doesn't have like a 1 turn, a 1 mana play like Ponder or something.
Yeah, this Sword to Plowshare, as we imagine, there arrives some of the Pyromancers as we fought. He let him Plowshare.
He did have a Force of Will. He's just decided
not to use it. Even that, I would have used the Force of Will. Yeah. Maybe he's fearing something.
I mean, if you Force of Will the Sword Plowshare, you attack for 3
4?
For 4, including the Shaman the next turn. So it's not, it's
quite a clock.
Yeah, it's quite a clock. I mean, you deal 3 more damages. I mean, it doesn't.
And you have to find something, and everything you play now is locked up.
No, now he's not doing anything, and he's just gonna deal 2 end of turn with the Sword Plowshares. I mean, if you are on the aggro control player, you wanna put a clock into play.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah,
now it's Zion's Plowshare. not as
Not the
I
best
mean, it's
turn,
not-
not the
not-
best turn free
no,
play.
no, it's not a good play. He's found. I think he found the Delver now. Maybe too late already. Yeah, definitely play the Delver. And Angelo's got the Brainstorm. He's got. Looking at the end, he's got the Force of Will, and he's got the counter spell that he's gonna play, fetching for another probably a Tundra, and countering the Derver. And Roberto let it resolve. I mean, I think the whole game was basically lost when he didn't Force of Will this Plowshares.
Yeah, the problem that Grixis Delver and every other aggro control has against Miracle is
You
you
have
don't
to
want
put pressure.
you don't want to give the Miracle player too much time.
And he's giving it, definitely. So Angelo now, he drew Jace, and now he's gonna Brainstorm in his turn.
He already played the land though. I mean, does he want to keep 2 blue manas up, or
Yeah, I
because
think
obviously when you might as well wait, don't play the
I
land,
think
and just
he's-
have a
I think
fetchment.
he's gonna fetching a counterbalance or a top to put himself in a definitely good shape. But I think he didn't found anything of it. He found some lands.
Yeah, what I mean is it's very strange that like
You don't-
you
you
play
already-
yeah
you
you play
already played the land.
yeah you
You
played the
already-
land before yeah.
He played another land. Yeah. Yeah, just
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done a double explore.
yeah. He's gonna play.
Yeah,
he played two lands.
he played a couple of lands today. He played a couple of lands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he played 2 lands this turn. Definitely has.
Ha giocato 2 land in un turno, Angelo. Sorry, but Angelo played 2 lands in a turn. A single
Yeah,
turn.
there's an extra plane.
played,
There's an
uh,
extra plane into play.
Basta che
Mi è sfuggito anche a me questa particolare.
we're gonna reconstruct the situation, and he's played 2 land in a single turn. So now I think the judges came to the table and he's gonna rule this.
Yeah, he's definitely played Volcanic Island, played Brainstorm, and then after that he played the planes.
Non ti preoccupare. Però io pensavo che il robot facesse mi sono confuso anche io. Mi è sfuggito.
They're gonna reconstruct the situation of play, trying to fix the thing with. I basically think that it's gonna change a lot, because if he takes back the plane in hand, basically the play the same.
Yeah, it doesn't
change,
make
it doesn't-
a big difference.
He doesn't show extra cards. He doesn't did a play that he cannot play with 4 mana. So
Vi rimetto l'imperatore. Cioè c'è l'investigation, non possiamo vedere. Vi rimetto l'imperatore. C'è l'investigation.
Ho messo 2 davanti in gioco, poi dicono che siamo...
Right, we have to take away the video for a second because there's an investigation going on, so we cannot really show what's going on.
Okay.
So basically what happened is he played the Volcanic Island, he played Brainstorm, and we noted that he actually played the land before playing Brainstorm, which is something that I asked because I thought, you normally don't play Brainstorm before, you normally play Brainstorm before the land, so you might draw like a fetch land or something and shuffle a couple of cards in the deck. So he did play the Volcanic Island, play the Brainstorm, put 2 cards on top, play the Plains, and then try to do something else. So I don't know. It's just they're trying to fix it.
Siamo in diretta? Okay. Sorry, we are back, and we no. There's an investigation in current investigation for because basically it's easy. Angelo played 2 lands in his turn, and the problem is that we tried to stop immediately the thing, but meanwhile Angelo played Snapcaster and doing a Brainstorm, so the judge is trying to reconstruct everything.
To be fair, Angelo's opponent noted the fact that he played 2 lands, and he stopped him when. I mean, I've seen Marchetti pointing in a Plains, saying you already played that.
No,
one.
he said you play that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But then,
I think we reconstructed the situation. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that basically the plane returned back in the end of Angelo, and you say the plane in the end of Angelo, so they probably retrieve the plane Angelo dropped it in his hand.
Yeah.
And so we are gonna back to the state of play. So now, okay, finally Roberto can play. Now he's got the Force of Will in hand. He's got the Brainstorm, and he's got a couple of other cards. Probe. And that probe, imagine that probe again with a Pyromancer in play, with maybe a couple of Terrapins in the deck. I mean, you can.
Yeah, this is what I don't understand about Marchetti's play. I mean, when you have a young Pyromancer in play,
you have to defend it.
Yeah, you have to try to protect it at least once with a Force Will. Even if that's gonna fail, you make an extra. You make an extra token. You have 3 more damages. I mean, Angelo is sitting comfortably at 14. You know what I mean?
You get to have a plan. You can't simply sit down and hoping to beat Miracle with card advantage or something like that, because he's gonna overplay you anyway.
What is probably thought is, I don't want to overcommit to the board in case he has a Terminus. But it wasn't. If you play that Fear in Terminus, I mean, you're just playing the wrong game, because your deck is packed with creatures.
No,
that's what you got to do.
You don't have a Sensei.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had a Sensei in play, I would understand. Because I mean, you're fearing that he can do Terminus or something like that. But since he doesn't have it, I mean, try to defend Pyromancer, and everything you do after that is an advantage for you. Now Jace come out for Angelo.
The untapped Tundra makes a huge difference, considering Marchetti is packing 4 Force of Wheels and 4 days. So that the untapped land actually makes a big difference. He might try and Force of Will that, but he also knows that Angelo has a Force of Will on his own.
Yeah, and let it resolve.
He's looking at the top card, so he goes up to 5 and look at the top card.
Yeah, he knows that it's not an instant spell, and
Yeah, surprise.
Another mistake. I think he had a brainstorm.
Did it?
I think he had a brainstorm in the upkeep and change the card.
But does he have a brainstorm?
I think so. I saw.
If he does have a brainstorm, then he might.
Yeah,
He should have just tried to play that. Especially because Angelo doesn't really have much. He only has a force of will. But the thing is, Marchetti has a couple of bolts and stuff and cards like that. He has 4 bolts and 4th bolt as well.
Yeah.
So he might, that Jace is not a big issue. It is now because he's not trying to attack the
Yeah,
Jace.
he's playing. I think he's playing bad.
I don't really understand his game plan, to be honest. So
Entreat.
is that entreat the Angels
Yeah. Think so.
for 2?
For 2.
Force of will.
Finally, Force of Will came out for Roberto. He found the
Yeah, the
4.
problem is he knows that Kadei has a force of will on his own.
Yeah. But the thing is that I cannot understand how playing against Miracle like that, hoping to Force of Will the Entreat the Angels.
There's so many things you have to force of will before.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
now
it's
you're
also,
facing a couple of 4/4s and a Jace,
yeah,
and your opponent is at 13. So you're definitely not in the best
not
shape.
in a good shape and not in the best shape. But anyway, you cannot, because it's the game plan. Wrong from the beginning. Wrong from the beginning. You got to protect the Pyromancer. And when you got to put pressure, and when you have a Pyromancer and 2 tokens in play, even if he played Jace, he's got to think that Jace is gonna die.
He tried and played too much around Terminus,
Yeah.
but there was,
not
unless
wrong
he finds a Terminus with a brainstorm or
choice.
something,
Wrong
especially because
choice.
you do have like Delver's Pyromancer, Gorma Gangler, Stephite Shaman. I mean, you have
Yeah.
a few creatures. It's not like
definitely.
you have like just the Delvers or something, or
Yeah,
just the
definitely,
Pyromancer.
definitely. Now Roberto is basically dead. Scat also, he was also in his crew. I mean, he got few mana. For that reason, he get to protect the Pyromancer. To play against, around with the board. I mean, you cannot hope to keep a Force Will for retreat the Angel at the end or for the Jace.
Yeah, if that's your plan. I mean, if that's your plan,
You're
it's
not
just
a control
totally wrong.
deck.
It's not a control deck. I mean, and the Jace is creating so much advantage as well. You should have tried and fight the Jace rather than fight everything else. If you don't want to fight to protect the Pyromancer.
Now, at the end of a turn, in his turn, Roberto is gonna lightning bolt on Jace and the forked bolt to kill the Jace. But now he plays Garma Gangler. Too late.
It's still too late. I mean, it's still losing the
He's
race
got-
anyway.
He's got another Jace from the top. Bouncing the Angler, 8 damage from the Angels. Okay, game over, but I mean,
Yeah, you should have.
Game
You should
plan
have
over
just. You
there.
should have just followed another game plan.
totally wrong. Totally wrong game plan. Now Angelo also counterbalance for his side, just to be sure. Just to be sure. And the days from Roberto now. He played very bad. Can I say it? Can I say it? Played.
Yeah, it
Huge
doesn't.
mistake.
It doesn't seem very focused to me. It seems like it's very happy to be there, and not
it
very
seems
focused on
to,
winning the
okay,
game.
I'm facing Angelo. I'm happy to lose against him.
Yeah, exactly. This kind of thing.
Kind of attitude. Brainstorm.
How is this deck gonna beat a couple of
No,
flying
nothing.
4/4s?
Can do nothing. Thing is, you got to be in a race with the opponent is 7 of 8 life and you got to keep the angels blocking. This is a shape you wanna be in. Not this shape in which you are trying to counter the entreat the angel.
Yeah, you want to counter the entreat the angels when your opponent is like at 7 lives.
Yeah, not hoping to survive. Yeah, now his game is over. Okay, let's look at the sideboards. Angeli's got 3 Flusterstorm, 3 Vendilion Clicks, 3 Red Elemental Blast, 1 Priest, 1 Rest in Peace, 1 Surgical, unexpected Surge, 1 Wear and Tear, 1 Staticaster, and 1 Explosives. I think he'll board in the Explosives for the Pyromancer tokens. Surely he'll board in the Red Elemental Blast, 1 of 2 Flusterstorm maybe. Instead, Roberto, he's got just 2 Submerges, 2 Pitting Needles, 1 Cage, 2 Red Elemental Blast, 2 Surgical, 4 Cabal Therapy, 1 Flusterstorm, 1 Sulfuric Vortex. I mean, definitely I don't like this deck not running Cabal Therapy main deck. Can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the base of the deck.
He does have a really good sideboard.
The reason of the deck is the Cabal Therapy.
He does have a really good sideboard. I mean, he can board cards like a couple of Pitting Needles, a couple of Red Elemental Blast, 4 Cabal Therapies, Flusterstorm, and I would also board Sulfuric Vortex as well. So, if you want to, you have 10 cards to board. So having 10 cards to board in is huge, absolutely huge. Yeah, I like cards like Red Elemental Blast, Pitting Needles, 4 Cabal Therapies, Flusterstorm, and Sulfuric Vortex. I mean, Sulfuric Vortex is just huge against Miracles. Also, does Miracle have many ways of dealing with an enchantment besides?
He's got, I think, Cancel Judgment and
a couple of Cancel Judgment, 1 Cancel Judgment.
Yeah, Explosives.
It doesn't. Yeah, I don't really want to play Explosive for free.
Yeah.
5 mana to get rid of it. So
no.
If you can play that on turn 2, I mean, you basically just won the game, right?
Yeah.
And also, he has so many dead cards. Like he has cards like Lightning Bolts and Forked Bolts that you really don't want to play. Also
the Angler.
Yeah. And cards like, to be fair, cards like Force of Wills and Dazes, they're not the best against Miracles. I mean, you have so many cards that they just do a better job. I mean, you cannot play that with Cabal Therapy and Force of Wills.
Yeah, but the thing is that wrong choice is not running Cabal Therapy main deck. I'm gonna say it aloud other 3 times. I mean, it's this deck. It's around the Cabal Therapies. Is based on the Cabal Therapies. I mean, in that turn in which he played the Pyromancer, if it will be able to play Therapy and against Flashback using the token of the Pyromancer, it will probably win the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead, you did Pyromancer, Multiplosion, and you did also defend it.
Yeah.
Even defending, having the plan to stick with the Deathlight Shaman in play, like 2 damages out to kill you, like that.
Definitely.
I hope you don't draw the lands. I don't know. What you hoping?
In all honesty, I think he has at least 10 really bad cards in his main deck in the form of Lightning Bolts, Forked Bolts, and most likely, with all those colored cards, he wants to board out the Force of Wills. I mean, if you have to think about the number of blue cards left in your deck, and this is a 3-color deck that has Cabal Therapies and red cards and all that, so you don't really want to have Force of Wills, especially against Miracle. It's not a fast combo deck that you really need to counter something,
Yeah, but also the Daisies is not so strong unless you stick with the plan. I mean, I also don't agree with playing. If you play 4 days, I would like play. I mean, 2 Stifles. Why 2 Stifles? If you stick to the plan, I stifle your fetchland, I wasteland, and Avena days. You get to play like 3 or 4 Stifles, like the first Canadian threshold lists. And anyway, let's talk about an interesting.
I just want to say hi to Orsman79. If he's the guy that streams Legacy, I watch your stream loads of times. You know, when I got nothing to do. Grats. I mean, I really enjoy it. Really good content.
Okay, speaking back with an interesting aspect of the game before. Okay, which is how much playing against a famous player. Interacts with your play, because we see that Marchetti is not concentrated. I mean, he's gonna play lazy. I mean, if you feel that he played different, but I never see Marchetti play before, but it seems that he's gonna influenced by playing against Angelo.
Yeah, it seems like
so
many times when you see really good players, they sit down and they've got the focus and they've got their kind of attitude.
I mean,
they haven't got there until they they win the whole thing.
I mean, you don't see that he plays two lands.
You sometimes sit down and you're thinking, yeah, I'm playing against this guy. This guy is good. He's won a bunch of tournaments. I'm happy to be here. I'm 3-0. And I'm just quite happy to lose. This is just not the right mentality.
This is not mentality. The mentality is going to be, if I beat Angelo, it will be a big thing. So I get to.
And you're only one win away for top 8 because it's only 7 rounds. So you're only 3 points away from a top 8.
And you're also 3-0. It's not 0-2 and playing at table 79. I don't know. Guys, you have to be focused on the play. When you play, you get to play. You're gonna chat. You're gonna. I mean, you don't see that he plays 2 lands in a turn. I mean, you get 4 lands. You got there 20 land.
Yeah, I want to ask something to Joe Lossets in the chat. What do you think of Eldrazi in Legacy? I mean, will we see some Eldrazi's in Legacy? Will you have you tried to build something like that? Because we look at a bunch of deck lists and it does seem powerful. We spoke about it before the tournament. We hope to see a bunch of those decks today, even though, to be fair, it's not the best deck to look at. But I think it could be quite successful with Chalice of the Void for 1 and Thorn of Amethyst and like a stompy approach to the deck, if you may.
Anyway, coming back to our match, I think that Roberto is gonna board in 2 Red Elemental Blasts, maybe 2 Pity Needle for the tops.
Definitely 4 therapies and 1
definitely
Vortex. I hope he boards in like cards like Flusterstorm and Vortex as well.
Also maybe 2 Surgical and maybe also the Vortex. He's got plenty of cards to board out. We are a Forked Bolts. Also the Lightning Bolts, I think I will board out, and also some. I think I will not keep for Force of Will.
I mean, after board, how many blue cards would he have after board? That's 4 Delvers you would live in, probably 4 Stifles. For 4 days, 2 Stifles. That's 10.
You got few
and 4 probes, 4 brains. You would still have like 22 blue cards.
Yeah.
Plus
but
4 Force of Wills, which is 26. I mean, it's still a good number. But I think cards like Flusterstorm, Vortex, Cabal Therapies, Pity Needles, and Red Elemental Blast. They might do a better job than Force of Will.
Yeah, Pity Needle, but Pity Needle it doesn't flip for Delver. Is situational. Is I don't know. I will consider to play Pity Needle with such sideboard cards.
Think about the fact that you're playing 4 Cabal Therapies. So if you're playing against a Sensei top deck, you really want to play that Needle on Sensei top. And like your Cabal Therapies are going to be so much better if you're not playing against Sensei.
Definitely. Okay. Okay, we have the metagame insight. There are very few Eldrazi deck running, and there are only 2 Eldrazi deck.
2 out of 110 is
2
not,
out of 110 is not as much as I told before.
I would have expected many.
I'm not pretending to be a sage, but and they are not performing good. So Roberto plays the turn 1 Delver as his deck is gonna do. And he didn't flip the Delver, is not good news, but he's attacking for 1, And now he's fetching another land. He's got to put down the Pyromancer now.
Yeah, but best turn to play.
Best
It's
to
probably
play is
just the
Pyromancer.
turn to Pyromancer. Unless he has cards like Cabal Therapy plus Stifle or something.
Yeah.
That would be a really good play as well.
Ponder. Yeah, I would play the Ponder with the Underground Sea because you have.
He's
a
not
red
happy. I
element.
mean, this is something I don't understand. You know, like
It's another
you,
error.
you ponder, and you just like you bang the table and stuff like that. I mean, it is just it's a tell. Like you can't give out so many infos away. I mean, you understand you're upset. I understand you're upset, but just don't give so many infos out.
Okay, he's not. I mean, he's not concentrated. He's not focused. Also here, because why playing Ponder with Volcanic Island running the Red Elemental Blast or menacing to play them instead of the Underground Sea?
Yeah, you gotta especially if you're playing against someone like Kadai who's most likely thinking about what you could be having.
Yeah, you don't have to give tells.
Yeah, you don't have to give
It's
away
like
so
if you
much.
play poker and you draw your hand and say, "Oh shit, that's good," and you go all in. I mean, and now
I've seen
as we
an
say- as we
engineered
say-
explosive in Kadai's end, so
Yes,
it's not good news.
Yeah,
for,
as we
for
say, as we say, he's gonna he boarded in the pit and needles. I don't know sincerely what he named. I think he named top, but he's not flipping the Delver. He did Ponder, he did not flip the
Yeah,
Delver.
this is quite strange. I mean, after a ponder, you really want to flip your Delver, right?
Guys, I'm not understanding a lot this guy. He's not. I mean, okay. Let's try to be neutral, but he plays another Delver now.
Now that's perfect for an engineered explosive for one.
Now Angelo fetches a plane.
I mean,
no,
you
another island.
gotta think about the fact that if you flip Delver, your engineered explosive is gonna be so much worse. At least it's a 2-for-1, not a 3-for-1.
Yeah.
I mean, if this explosive resolves, this is just huge for Kadai.
Another fetch. Now he's gonna fetch an island, a plane.
Also, he's backing Stifles though. I mean, he might have an answer here. He might have a Stifle. He might have something.
He plays two Stifles. Now he's gonna play the explosives. Not good news for Roberto.
Yeah, he just says yes. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
And the needle.
and the needle too. 3-for-1. Yeah, we're talking before about silver bullets. But here before not a. I mean, you got to brainstorm as a fourth card. Why didn't you put before to flip the Delver?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Okay. Now it's clear that Roberto is not in the game. But anyway, he's gonna brainstorm now with a fetch land on play, so you can try to maximize.
I mean, at the end of the day, Kadai doesn't really have much. I mean, he's playing with nearly a full grip of 6 cards. But what's the worst that can happen? 4 mana Jace.
Yeah, maybe. What did Roberto play?
Is there another pit in needle?
Another pit in needle?
I think that's a foil pit in needle.
Ah, okay. Now I will name Jace.
Yeah, at this moment in time.
As
probably
moment
just
in time,
name-
obviously.
Probably just name Jace.
Because also Angelo's got Jace in hand.
He didn't fetch though, so he did like the card on top of his deck.
Yeah, we hope.
Now it does need some form of pressure. Like it does need
Creature.
like a creature in play or something.
Keep us on commenting on his end.
Yeah, that's not the best pressure you can
No.
put, but it is something.
A Vanillion Clicker Ice on Angelo's side.
Is that in response to?
I think in
that?
response to the Shaman. He's got the Surgical, he's got the Ponder, he's got the Brainstorm.
better check for some Tinder matches.
And Angelo chooses surgical extraction to be on the bottom of deck of Roberto. Now Angelo is definitely in good shape. He just drew a counterbalance. He now attacks for free. It's in a race himself. And he plays counterbalance now. In response, Roberto plays brainstorm.
Also, did he have a ponder which he decided not to play? Or did
Yeah, turn before. Don't know why. At this point, he's always in response to the counterbalance. He's gonna fetch and he probably plays, and he'll probably play another brainstorm. But now for Roberto is very, very complicated. He's got a card advantage, he's got a board card disadvantage and board disadvantage.
I just have a question now.
All right.
Another
okay,
brainstorm,
nothing.
as I said.
I was just thinking that that singleton tropical island is just to activate the Deathlight Shaman.
No.
Yeah, it just has like one tropical island.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe for that reason.
It's the only green mana that it needs.
Yeah, the green mana for gaining 2 life from the Deathlight Shaman when you need it. Okay, now the counterbalance resolves.
Yeah,
So-
it's actually really good, like against
now it's
against decks like
Multiplosure.
Griselbrand. You know, if you entomb a Griselbrand or something.
Sword to Plowshare resolves on Angelo's side and removing the Deathlight Shaman.
Can
Now-
they ever lose this game from here?
No,
Yeah.
don't think so.
What
Really don't think
can
so.
Marchetti do to come back? Probably just
Probably
drop a
Probably
yeah,
a good
probably
mag,
just-
a good
yeah.
mag angler.
either an angler or just drop in a
Pyroman-
pyromancer and a
Yeah.
bunch of spells.
Now he tries a spell for 1, and Angelo tries with counterbalance.
Nope.
The reveals of a land. So it's the Ponder resolves.
Yeah, the path is clear. I mean, this is the right time to actually play a couple of threats. I see a
He's
Daze
got
on
a
top.
Daze, he's got
There's
a
a Daze, a
Wasteland.
Wasteland, and the Deathlight Shaman.
Deathlight Shaman.
So
He could play a
play
Shaman.
Shaman, or
He could play a Shaman.
the thing is, like, do you really want these 3 cards? I mean, isn't there anything better than Deathlight Shaman, Daze, and Wasteland?
Yeah, definitely there is. Now he plays a Shaman. Probably Angelo is gonna fetch to. No. He does want to draw the Delta. He does want mana. Because he's got a mentor in hand. So,
Alright, okay.
so basically, Angelo now is gonna race against Roberto with more effective. Yeah, now a Snapcaster Mage. That's why before Angelo removed the surgical extraction, and now was Sword to Plowshare came on the Deathlight Shaman of Roberto. Now Roberto, really bad shape for him.
I think he just drew a Daze. One of the most useless Dazes.
Yeah, definitely not a big card in this matchup. Diver of Secrets. This time Angelo reveals for 1.
Good luck.
This is game over. Because Angelo also saw a top.
What?
Fetches, he doesn't want to see the top.
Doesn't want to draw a top. That's overkill. I mean, nah, I'm not gonna draw a top. That's unfair. I'm just gonna fetch me into something else because I don't think that's fair.
Angelo decided not to draw a top. Particular choice here.
Yeah, it's a very strange choice.
Strange
He
choice.
also has the.
You also have the balance, you also have the mentor.
Yeah, he also has the mentor in hand.
The
so,
combo
I
out
mean,
with the top.
Yeah, I mean that top was probably the best card you could draw.
Yeah, don't know. Wanna give a spectacle of us?
Or does the needle maybe name top?
Yeah. So stupid.
Yeah. So it would be nice to know that that needle. Was
Yeah,
named
I thought
top.
he named Jace instead. He named stops. Okay.
No,
And now
also,
Jason.
yeah, so alright, that's fair enough. So we all thought that Needle was naming Jace. But
Days on Jace. Reveals from the top for 1. So fetches to pay the Jace cost. And Roberto will play another Days. Roberto will not play another Days, but it's not enough because he's at 8 life. He's facing a race for 5. And
it doesn't have another
11
Days.
or so? It doesn't have another Days? Okay, that's so. Game over. Once more, game over.
Yeah, this game has been over for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think it's been over for. Yeah, that Days in play. It's like a creature.
See, this is something I don't really understand. I mean, he's played a couple of Ponders, and they've both been pretty bad.
Yeah. And you didn't.
He didn't shuffle twice. I mean, it's. I don't know.
And also, he didn't.
Even the last Ponder. I mean, you have a Ponder with like Death Ray Shaman, Wasteland, and Days, and all these cards are not going to do anything. And you have the opportunity to shuffle, so you might as well. I mean, you're playing probably against one of the best players in the room. You really want to try and put some pressure, hoping that it doesn't have everything, it doesn't have all the answers. In game 1, it just decided to play, kind of playing around Terminus, rather than protecting his own winning condition in the form of.
He basically conceded the game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he put much of a fight in neither of those games.
Yeah, this final phrase, I can't compete with you. It's indicative of the approach with which Roberto approached this game. I mean, he put himself in. I'm already lost this game, and he already succeeded in losing it, but not even fighting. I mean, you play Ponder.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it being like really good judge of character. It doesn't need to take. It doesn't take to be like a really good judge of character to see the whole attitude, and it was confirmed about
Anyway, the matchup is not easy.
The matchup is not the best. I mean, but you might try and put up a fight and
but
not being so remissive, in everything you do.
Yeah. Also, speaking technically, I don't agreed a lot with at least with 4 days. 2 stifles, 4 wastelands. I mean, if you want to stick to the plan, I deny you the denial plan that was like a Canadian plan. I mean, we can call it like that. You get to play 4 stifles. I mean, if you run therapies or you run stifles.
Yeah, playing 2 stifles doesn't really make sense. I mean, if you really like
stifling,
in the format, you want to play 4.
It doesn't save you against Storm deck because he's gonna pass through therapy or through the outside speak for closing. It doesn't. It's occasional. I mean, you stifle 1 fetch land.
Yeah, stifle and fetch land is still a decent. It's still a decent play. I mean, but you want to have 4.
Yeah, but you get if you want to do that play, you get to play 4. So you get stifle in hand. You stifle the fetch with wasteland on the other land, and you try to win the game like Canadian did for.
Yeah, you try and steal games just by.
You steal games like Canadian did most of the time. But otherwise, I will in this list played. -2 Stifle, -2 Forked Bolt, +4 Cabal Therapies, -1 Days, +1 Flusterstorm. You can keep it. Or 2 Flusterstorms. But anyway.
Yeah, we're just gonna have a short break, send a couple of videos, and then we will be back for round 5 in about 10 minutes or so. We have 10 minutes of videos or something.
See you later.
See you later. Hi everybody. Everyone knows about Eldrazi Modern after the breakout in the Pro Tour Out of the Gatewatch. What we're going to talk about today is Eldrazi in Legacy. Is the deck playable? Apparently so. He's been winning a local tournament. What we want to know is what's the difference between this deck in Legacy and Modern? Why is this deck viable in Legacy? How does it play out against the major decks in the format? Let's go to the mana base first. How do you actually play these threats? What's the difference between this mana base and Modern?
So the difference between this version and the modern one is that in Legacy you even have more the so-called soul lands, which are the lands that produce 2 mana. Here you have up to 14 lands, possibly up to 16, but certain lands of course are better off as 3 elves instead of 4 elves. You have your 4 Enchanted Temple, 3 Eye of Hugin, 4 Ancient Tomb, and also 3 City of Traitors. So, of course, this makes it extremely possible for you to curve out and to skip ahead on drops by playing your, for example, your 4-drop on turn 2, the Thought-Knot Seer, your 2-drop on turn 1. So, of course, Legacy offers a mana base that is way more consistent than Modern one, which is even more scary.
Right. We do see this version as less manlands than the Modern one, obviously, because it has more access to Sol Ring lands. For Wastelands, it's a concession to the fact that sometimes in Legacy you do need to get rid of, just weaken the mana base of your opponent sometimes. So I would start off with the 8 cards that actually interact with your opponent. Some of your creatures do interact with your opponent, but the best thing of this deck, according to me, is the fact that making consistently 2 mana on turn 1, you can play out a Chalice of the Void or a Thorn of Amethyst. Right. How many decks actually scoop the Chalice of the Void in Legacy? How bad is it for your average opponent to, play against a Chalice for 1 on turn 1?
Well, it's definitely, it makes scoop. It makes like several decks in the format scoop. Just think about all the tempo decks, for example, the Bug Delver or Canadian Threshold, the Rag Delver, even the combo decks, Adonazan Tendrils. But the fact is that actually Legacy is mostly based on the blue cantrips. So even decks that are more resilient to Chalice of the Void sometimes just fall to it because they kept lands that were just chock full of 1-drops. Just think about Miracles, for example, Sensei's Divine Top, but also Sword to Plowshares. So Chalice of the Void, of course, is a spell which is extremely powerful. And also Thorn, of course, like Thorn makes it more difficult, even more difficult for your opponent to go off through Chalice and Thorn and also the creatures. So it's all in all, it's a very solid 8 pieces of disruption.
Right, so we can definitely say that this deck, like most decks in Legacy, but especially with this one, you do want to win the coin toss. You want to go first. Right. The other ways to interact with your opponents are Dismember and Warping Whale. They do different things. Dismember obviously have much better removal. Warping Whale has different abilities that you can actually use. For example, the second one, which is quite interesting against Miracles. How about the creatures? Because we do see that the core of the deck is the modern creatures, like the same creatures that the colorless Eldrazi would have played in the top 8 of the Pro Tour. Well, how does this deck play out? I mean, what's your average opening end? Let's say you're not playing Chalice of the Void or Thorn of Amethyst. What's the order you want to play these creatures on? How do they interact with each other?
Yeah. Your usual start should be, if you don't have Chalice or Thorn, your first turn play should always be a Eldrazi Mimic, because it is the Eldrazi which allows for very damage-heavy outputs. For example, if you go turn 1 a Soul Land into Eldrazi Mimic, you will then be able to play another Eldrazi on turn 2, and then the Mimic will be able to attack already for quite some damage. Your ideal turn 2 play could be either Matter Shaper, or if you're lucky and you have a double Soul Land, you can even play Thought-Knot Seer, which is the likelihood of playing which is way higher than the modern version, because as I said before, here you have 14 colorless lands. And then of course you can go turn 3 Reality Smasher, and all in all these starts are blazing fast and they are very hard for decks to keep up with, even for Legacy decks.
Right, obviously there's a concession for late game. Besides the fact that there's only 3 endless ones, There's also two Endbringer, a card that we haven't seen a lot in Modern. One of the reasons might be because in Modern it's not that easy to produce two colorless mana, while in here with all these Sovereign Lands you can actually constantly produce two manas and just, you know, refill your hand afterwards. Phyrexian Revoker, what are the targets for this card in the format?
Phyrexian Revoker is particularly useful to aid on either Vial, for example, which is a very powerful drop in play from Goblins, Merfolk, but most of all now, of course, Death and Taxes. Then you also have Sensitive Vanitop, because after all, one of the ways that this deck could lose is if your opponent manages to sweep your board with Terminus, and Phyrexian Revoker aids Sensitive Vanitop, so it will be more difficult for your opponent to do so. And then of course, you have all your spare targets. For example, Revoker is particularly good against Sneak and Show, where your opponent can't really, for example, draw 7 off Prince of Brand if you happen to drop Phyrexian Revoker off Show and Tell. So all in all, it's a very useful card. And of course also Lionside Diamond, which shuts down the way Storm usually produces mana.
The thing I really like about this deck is it seems to have a really big consistency on turn 1 plays. I mean, it does have 4 Chalices, 4 Thorns, but it also has Mimics and Revokers and Endless Swans, which you can play at the beginning, you can play later. Well, obviously in Legacy you don't want to waste time, you want to do something on turn 1 and something on turn 2 that actually affects the game. After the sideboard you do have even more ways to interact with the opponent. I mean, most of the times you would probably board out some creatures, or, you know, tweak your cards, tweak your artifacts if you're on the play or on the draw, and you do have even more things to, you know, make your opponent's life difficult. I can think, for example, of Freeney Spheres or Moon Rods. Now, what I wanted to know is, against what decks you do need those cards? Like, what are the worst matchups, and how do you fight back with your sideboards?
Yeah, this deck is pretty new. It's like the new hot kid on the block, even for Legacy, or especially for Legacy. So I'm not really entirely sure of the answers, even because like it was just one person who took it to a success in an event. But I can assume, for example, that Nurol is going to come in against LED decks, but also Sensitive Vanitop decks. Vorpal Engine is particularly good against green-black based decks, for example Jan, if anybody still plays Jan in Legacy. Then you have Dismember for, of course, for the tempo decks, Whopping Whale for the same reason, and you can even double up on ways to counter Terminus. I can assume that perhaps what this deck may struggle the most against are fast and consistent combo decks if you don't happen to see your resistors on time. But also perhaps the land sometimes can lock you out of the game by going, your mana base is very fragile, so if your opponent manages to go into long recursion with Wasteland, you're going to be cut off the game quite quickly. So, for example, here you can see also Radical Progenitus, which is very useful in trying to shore up the weakness against Life from the Dome strategies. I think so, at least.
Yeah, one of the problems of playing a colorless deck is obviously that you have less access to sideboard cards. I mean, there must be some decks that you don't really interact much against. Obviously, I'm asking myself, what do you really do with Ratchet Bombs? What do you really do with all this dust? They're probably a concession to aggressive decks. Or is there anything that you really want to get rid of with your Ratchet Bombs? Because Ratchet Bombs, it's not a great card in Modern, but it is played, and it's actually quite useful. I mean, there's always something you can get rid of in Modern. What do you want to get rid of with Ratchet Bomb in Legacy?
I think that here, but also in Modern, no, especially here, Ratchet Bomb is your equivalent of Engineer Explosives, which of course you cannot play due to color constraints. For example, it's particularly useful to get rid of Empty Warrens from Storm, but also from token decks, basically. Also the tokens from Monastery Mentor and all that kind of stuff. In slower, grandier matchups, it is also useful because you are given more turns to load it up, to load the counters, and for example pop something that may be annoying you. So yeah, it's essentially sometimes a worse, sometimes a better engineer explosives, and also of course also against elves by going up to 1 and then unleashing the Ratchet Bomb is going to be on average quite devastating against elves.
Yeah, the only deck that I can see this deck struggling against is probably Lens, just on paper. I mean, you don't really interact much against Lens, but against everything else, I think this deck is very consistent. It can be on the aggressive side, it can be trying to lock your opponent down and then just winning with a big threat. But yeah, overall, I'm quite impressed. So we'll see if this is going to be like a big player in the format later on.
Okay.
Hi everybody. Everyone knows about
No, it's not. Siamo lì in linea. It's not David Besso here. It's Saverio Adamo. It's judge of the tournament.
Head judge of today.
Head judge.
Yep. By the way,
An important person.
Not really, but yeah, you know.
So Saverio, how is going the tournament? Is gonna everything okay?
Yeah, everything is okay. Got very good team, so I'm very happy for that. And well, we have not so much players, 100 and something, so it's very smooth and we can cover the tournament well.
You did some deck check already?
Yeah, a lot actually.
Everything regular.
Yeah, some problem with altered card, you know, it's quite common and...
These altered cards.
Yeah.
Why you don't explain how to play altered card and when they become illegal or something?
Yeah, well, we have now some rules already black and white, you know, we have some guideline. So we know that you don't have to cover the mana cost or the name or basically you don't have to alter too much. The important is that at the first
card
you
can recognize the card.
A lot of people think that the problem is only, oh my god, I'm playing Force of Will, I say Force of Will is that, and it's true, but a card has to be fair also when you receive a surgical instruction on it, when you snapcaster mage something, so it has to be clear that
also for the opponent.
Yeah, basically for the opponent, you know your card, but the opponent can search your library for something, and if it didn't find, it has to be because it won't, not because you cover the card in some way that you cannot recognize it.
Clear.
Card has to be clear.
I don't think you run the Force of Will because I don't recognize them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want surprise. I mean, surgical Force of Will, and then you are tapped out. I play something, and you Force of Will. Oh my god! Come on! I removed 3 Force of Will. Now I play 4. You didn't find this one. It's not. That's not fair.
Yeah. And this is
that's my point of view.
No.
It's not official point of view. It's my point of view. I would like
so every judge is got his policy, you know.
Okay, we have the same guideline for everyone.
Yeah. Obviously.
So no one invent something.
Yeah.
But yes. for the altered card, yeah, it's
Yeah, and it's competitive today, obviously. Real,
yes, because of the prizes pool.
Yeah, we saw a situation before in the streaming, which Angelo put down 2 lands in the same turn, but we did an investigation, so everything was fine.
Yeah, mistake happened.
Yeah, mistake happened. The important is the communication between players.
Yeah. Please remember this. Life
Say
point.
to a camera.
Life points, please. When you have a modification, a change in life points, announce it. Like kitchen things to life. It's very easy, but it's
No one does it.
no, you have to.
Yeah.
Kitchen things, get into life. Okay, cool. 22.
Yeah.
22.
A question from a player, and now the Chalice is gonna be much played. How it fits with you got Chalice for 1, a player plays a spell cost 1. None of the players catch the thing, and after 2 turns, how will it happen? You try to reconstruct.
No, Kalish's Divide is trigger.
Okay, but if both players can.
No. Miss a trigger,
Yeah.
it's totally fair. I mean, if you miss a trigger,
You have
It's
to
okay.
say it's countered.
oh yeah, you have to do something. For example, put trigger on the stack and say resolve.
Okay. So it's the controller of the Chalice that you have to
Yeah.
say. Okay, you
It's-
cannot say there was the Chalice that was countered.
No.
Okay.
It's
no,
a
no,
trigger,
this is
so
important thing because
you need to handling your trigger. Your opponent don't have to remind you, oh, you have your trigger.
yeah.
So
No, because there was a time I remember in which
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
to-
Mr. Trigger
you have,
changed a
yeah, you
lot.
have to remind. I attack you and you have to suck 6. I mean, there was a change in the rule. I mean, I remember in a time that when Vayne came back. Now you have to remind the triggers to your opponent, basically.
okay, have to go. Thank you very much for interview. Life point. Game 2.
Point.
Say 2. Okay, bye.
Prossimo turno è Camilluzzi contro Cadella.
Okay. Now we had a very interesting match between Marco Camilluzzi. I remember to you part of the Italian team that won the World Championship like 2 months ago with Andrea Mengucci and other players. With, sorry, I don't remember. Bifero and Marco is here in the booth with us.
Hi everyone.
I was saying that you are a world champion of Magic, and
I'm
you
team world champion.
Yeah, with
Team world
Andrea Mengucci,
For
Bifero,
now.
and the other-
William Pizzi.
William Pizzi. Sorry for William Pizzi for forgetting him.
Yeah, but Bifero and Pizzi are twins, so just
okay.
consider it one.
And
What do you think of Legacy, Marco?
I'm really not prepared for Legacy, honestly. I'm not the best fan of Brainstorm, but we will see.
What do you play? Is it
Play
like
Ignition? Loam. Yeah,
Loam.
probably one of the worst deck in the field, but yeah, probably I'm addicted to Net of Reliquary. So.
yeah, it's one of your pet cards, isn't it? Do you play some Boom Bust as well, or
Likely not.
No Boom Bust.
But maybe tomorrow.
Any Devastating Dreams?
Oh, wow. It's great.
Vanishing Fire.
It's really mediocre deck.
But you did play some Legacy. I mean, you do know the deck. You do know like what's
really.
going on.
We will see.
What are you gonna play tomorrow? Modern?
Yeah, Modern. I think we'll
Eldra-
play
Naya?
Naya or Eldrazi.
Eldrazi.
I'm not sure about that.
Would you play colorless Eldrazi or?
Yeah, I think Colorless is better in the field, but Blue-Red is better against mirror match.
Okay.
okay,
We will have a longer interview after your match, maybe.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
See you. Bye bye.
Good luck. Okay, so so the match I was saying is very interesting because between Marco Camilluzzi, as we say.
Devi avviare il destino.
Ah, okay.